Video Games, the gaming podcast that strives to the right balance of coverage for games you play on your table and on your television. We're a proud member of the PSVG Podcast Network and thrilled to be part of the Dice Tower Network as well. I am one of your hosts, Kyle Hyman, and joining me on this co-op adventure, the guy who is about to be double fisting games, Josh Barboni. How are you doing this evening?
Caught me off guard with that.
There's just so many games coming, Josh.
So many games. Yeah.
How else could you possibly handle all of them other than that?
Just need both fists.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll get it done one way or the other. I'm
well,
okay.
Josh,
I'm okay. I'm tired. How about you?
Also same. It's been a month. August is it's tried my patience significantly. But we're here. We're recording a podcast. It's gonna release on time, so that's a win for us, I guess. Like that doesn't always happen. But yeah, it's been a month. So how are things in your world though? Anything fun or exciting happened over the last few weeks?
No, not really. School starts tomorrow for us, so
nice.
I'll have a third grader as of tomorrow.
And how does that make you feel?
Older every year. Every year it makes me feel older. But also every year I start physically feeling older, so it makes me feel more than older, I guess. Weird.
Yeah.
It's coming at me from both sides. Even double fisting it won't help.
Oh man, yeah. That getting older feeling, it's pretty annoying. Like just having friends, like obviously in the Discord, if you hang out there, like having friends who have kids in college now and things like that. It's
crazy,
just really
right?
weird. It's just super bizarre. I have many friends who have kids that are like entering or just about done with high school, and it's just kind of crazy as someone who works in higher education, like having them be like, hey, can I ask you questions about college? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like totally fine. So it's interesting. Yeah, every day a little bit older, it is what it is. So
yeah.
Anything really exciting or fun happen
this month?
Yeah.
Oh boy, if it did, it just gets overshadowed by everything else.
Doesn't it?
So I don't even know that I can remember. I mean, it wasn't like we've had our highs and lows this month, so there's definitely been positive things.
Yeah.
But it really has just flown by.
I agree there.
So I really feel like August was a blur. I don't feel like I was very present for it. And I only say that because I feel like July, I have a very strong memory of.
Mm-hmm.
In August, I just really don't know what the heck happened this month.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend and we were chatting about how this summer, like May feels forever ago, but also this summer felt like it went by in a flash. Is a really odd dichotomy of like feeling like, what was pre-summer seems so long ago, but then just trying to think back over summer, it seems like summer went so incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
And that dichotomy is just kind of like living in my mind right now. So yeah.
But it was a fun month. Great. How about you? How was August for you?
Josh, it was.
I know. I know a little bit.
Yeah, it was a rough month. Nothing like horrible happened, but one of my dogs did get sprayed by a skunk. So that was great. And of course, when that happens, it's at like 11 p.m. Never during the day. And she like got it like full bore, like just destroy. Like she was so covered in it. It was so bad. So that was just one of the whole month has kind of been like that, where just little things, nothing that is like end of the world, just like really annoying things to have to deal with, of like this is just one more thing that I didn't really want to have to deal with right now, but it's in your lap, so I guess we're just gonna figure it out and do what we need to and move on. And so that's been my month, is a whole bunch of skunk. Both literally and figuratively. So yeah. Have you ever had a pet get sprayed by a skunk, Josh, or been around a animal that got sprayed by a skunk, or been sprayed by a skunk yourself?
No, I had a very, very close call when I had my dog. It was like winter-ish time. We were out in the backyard, and he was doing his business, and I had a flashlight, so I'm trying to find him.
Mhm.
And I stumble upon a family of skunks coming out from underneath our shed in the
Oh,
backyard.
geez.
And my dog is currently off leash at the moment,
Yeah.
pooping. So it was a very frantic scramble to get him upstairs. Um, but luckily, I have avoided uh, the skunk situation that a lot of pet owners go through.
Yeah, I think the most now, the initial situation sucks. But I think what is really more annoying about it is like we're over a week later since this has happened, and every once in a while I'll pick something up and I'm like, how the hell does this smell like skunk still? Like literally everything in our house basically has been washed. The dog has been washed multiple times, like using all the right stuff to do it. But every once in a while, just something like I get that faint little like I'm like, how in the world
Yeah,
does
it
this
makes
still?
you not want to kill a skunk in the wild and eat it, right?
Oh,
So
hundred
they
percent.
win.
You know,
They got a
like I
good,
will say, nature's nature is metal, as they say. Like, how does this thing produce this stuff? My gosh. Whew. So, so yeah. So that's been my month. Has been both literal and figurative skunk
yeah,
sprays. But hey, you know what? We've gotten to play some games, so that's okay,
yeah.
and that makes things better. So let's get to that. So hey, thanks so much for joining us this month, everyone. As always, if you have any feedback, questions, or suggested topics, hit us up at boardwithvg at gmail.com, or check out the awesome stuff over on the Instagram, also boardwithvg. We're proud to be part of the Play Some Video Games podcast family, and we encourage you to check out all of the shows like the PSVG podcast, the Nintendo Shack, PSXP, and the occasional Sweet Hangs. You never know when a new show might pop up, so be sure to stay tuned to all of your favorite PSVG podcasts to stay up to date. We're also a member of the Dice Tower Podcast Network, so if you enjoy our conversations about board games and would like to dive deeper into that world, we encourage you to check out the Dice Tower Podcast archive, as well as all of the other members of the network. No matter what type of board games you enjoy, there's a podcast on the network that's right for you. Josh, before we jump into games, I
Hmm.
have two questions for you that are both, well, one is very related to our topics and what we typically talk about. The other is adjacent.
Okay.
So we'll start with the adjacent one. You know, we're finishing up August, rolling into September, which
Yeah.
means we are almost to spooky month.
Yes.
How are you? Are you preparing for like October movie watching and scary movie watching? How are you doing as far as your preparations? Have you even thought about it yet?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I have a strategy necessarily because it's kind of a year-long thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily do that, but I do know we'll be recording Decade of Horror soon. So I do have to prepare for that recording, which means I typically have to step up my game in September.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm kind of like watching movies is tough, especially movies my son can't be in the room around.
Yeah.
It's harder, and then I have to have the energy to watch a movie at 8 p.m. at night.
Yep.
Uh, so all those things factor into it, and I'm not as bad at night with scary movies as I used to be, but I'm not necessarily clamoring to put on a horror film at 10 p.m. Uh, doesn't I don't get nightmares necessarily like I used to, but it's still not like I'm not trying to mess with it. Like it's going okay, so let's not mess with it. Yeah, so I've been keeping up throughout the year. There's still some ones on my list I haven't seen yet that I need to check off. And I just because I'm a member of A24's like membership club,
Mm-hmm.
every month I get $5 credit in their store, and it just adds up. So I just let it add up, and I just bought Bring Her Back on 4K.
Oh, nice.
So I should be getting that this week. So I'll have that watch for the podcast. That's probably my next horror movie, maybe that or Sinners. Sinners is still something I have to watch.
I can't believe I've watched Sinners and you haven't watched
I
Sinners.
know, I know. The reason why I haven't watched it is because I want to dedicate my time to it.
Uh-huh.
And every time I think about even putting it on, it's either very late or I'm not feeling great or whatever the reason. So it just hasn't made it yet. I've watched Death of a Unicorn before
Mm-hmm.
Sinners, which is interesting. But I knew I didn't have to pay attention. a lot to Death of Unicorn,
Right.
so it's easier. But yeah. So I guess that's where I am. If that answered your question.
I mean, yeah, it does. It answers kind of just the general like what you're, um, yeah, kind of like just generally like
Yeah,
how you're feeling about it. Obviously I have my movies that I need to watch that were assigned to me that I
I was going
watched
to
one of
ask about it.
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, I so that's I was like, okay, I should probably get to this a little more intentionally. Um, which I am excited about to a degree. Yeah, we'll say that we'll say that. And then my next question, and this is more directly related. So Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake
Delta.
Eater comes out in just a few days.
Yeah,
Obviously, the reviews have already dropped, and it scored very, from a critic perspective, at least, it scored very well.
yeah.
What is your hype level, Josh? I know this is a series you love and a game you love. Like, what is your hype level? What are you thinking about it? Like, where are you at as far as Metal Gear Solid Delta?
Well, my hype level, where is it? I just recently bought the Metal Gear Solid Collection on the Switch
Hmm.
to have to play on the Switch. So I started play. I didn't put that on my games playlist for some reason, um, but I'm playing that because I wasn't about to play Snake Eater again on it, but I was going to try to dabble in a little bit of both games just to like reacquaintance myself with the game.
Sure.
But then I watched IGN review also, and it basically says like this new game is just like a beautiful remake of like word for word,
Mm-hmm.
scene for scene, which is
Yep.
great news for me. I'm happy about that because it will like also I feel like it's gonna like scratch that nostalgia itch at the same time as providing like a new experience. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty excited. Excitement levels high, and I know I can play that with my son around um, as I go with for my no kill run.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is that what you're gonna do right away, or is that like later?
It's my intention. My intention will
Okay.
be no kill first go. If it changes, it changes, But at least my intention
Right.
is no kill. And like Metal Gear Solid 3 is really catered towards that with the camouflage system.
Mm-hmm.
So I really look forward to kind of diving into a challenging game that I haven't played in very many years.
Can you even not kill like? Aren't there bosses though?
You have to kill the bosses, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You have to defeat the bosses.
yeah, okay. Defeat the
Do you ever
bosses. There we
actually
go.
kill a boss in Metal Gear?
I have no idea.
No, I don't think you
We'll
do.
find out, I
I don't
guess.
think you do.
So, defeat the bosses. Okay, good call. Good call. Yeah. I've
I
only
was gonna
very
ask you, yeah, what
briefly
about you?
dabbled in Metal Gear. I remember dabbling in it back in the day, but I've never played it. So, I'm looking forward to playing it. I am happy. I was listening to, I don't remember which podcast it was, but one of the podcasts they said that they took the game. It's like 11 or 12 hours.
Yeah, it's not too long. Not
That
like the
is
other ones.
Yeah, that is pretty short. And I was like, oh, well, I have time for that. Like, that sounds great. Actually, that is making me even more
And
excited.
it's a prequel, so you don't really have to know the whole story.
Right. So, yeah, because apparently, what people were saying is that if it's often the game that people recommend if you've never played one to start with, even though it's the third game.
Yeah.
So that makes sense why this one they're remaking. So here we go. So yeah, but we'll jump in. We'll see. I'll see what all the fuss is about with this Kojima guy that everyone seems to like so much. Yeah, I'm very curious, especially since it is such a faithful remake.
Yeah.
Because the original came out in what, like 2001, 2002, something like that,
Yeah,
2000,
2000 let me look. I forget.
2003 maybe.
I want to say 2003 was in my head, but I put a 2. I'm like, why did that come up for 3? I put a 2, that's why. Oh man, I hate this screen. 2004.
Oh wow, okay,
Yeah, November
later than I
17th,
thought.
2004. An Xbox release date type of date.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm wondering, does the game hold up 20 years later? That'll be the thing I'll be interested to,
Yeah,
especially as a first time player. Will I be like, wow, this is so like neat, or will I be like, wow, this really feels like a 2004 game?
it might. I think because it's Kojima, there's just going to be a lot of war things you can relate to right now. So at least the
Sure.
story will make sense.
Yeah. And to be clear, even if a game is like, wow, this feels like a 2004 game, doesn't mean I won't necessarily like it, as maybe we'll be talking about in a little bit here.
Oh yeah,
So,
there you go. Yeah.
yeah. All right. But with that, Josh, why don't we talk a little bit about what you have been playing?
Sure. Not too much that like popped into my head to put down. I did mention the Metal Gear Solid collection.
Hmm.
I got that on Switch. I've been like dabbling in Conquest Dark, which I believe I talked about in the past, which is like the Vampire Survivors style game. Playing that like occasionally on the Steam Deck. But for the big ones, well, the big ones for what I've been playing most time with has been Donkey Kong Bonanza. I have taken the advice of everybody and just stopped trying to smash through everything in the worlds.
Nice.
And now it is playing very much like a Nintendo game, and I don't mean
Mm.
that necessarily in a positive or negative way.
Hmm.
It's just it's very Mario Odyssey ish. Um,
Which makes sense.
which makes sense. And I am having a lot of fun playing it, and uh, I just love that I can smash through pretty much everything,
Sure.
and it's pretty satisfying. So I'm enjoying my time with that still.
Do you think this is a high likelihood this game's on like your top 10 of the year at the end of the year?
Um, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Questionable.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
top
obviously, there's a lot of
top
games coming
10.
still.
Yeah, I would say now it's in the top 10, but I don't know if it'll still be there.
Yeah. I have, whenever I go to the store, I casually just glance to see if by chance the store has any Switch 2s in stock. Now, part of the challenge is I don't go to the store very often.
I
So
was gonna say
that
every
hasn't,
store near me has Switch 2s in stock.
oh, not near me. We,
That's
we, we
crazy.
definitely
Yeah,
don't. Yeah. So, because I kind of want to play this game. I don't really care about Mario Kart,
yeah.
but I do kind of want to play this game. But then I'm like, well, do I really get a Switch 2 for one game? I don't
I
know.
mean, technically, I did for Mario Kart.
That's true. That's true. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I am leaning towards. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I've been listening to some Street Fighter conversation recently, and it's made
Hmm.
me want to maybe get it on the Switch so I can play it in bed
Ooh,
and not take up TV time. Like do it as my like this is what I'm playing when I'm not doing stuff.
how does
I'm
it run?
considering it.
Have you
I'm
heard?
gonna look it up before I do
Yeah,
that, but I'll be curious. It probably
and
runs great. I bet
and obviously there's a ton of time until this game comes out, but apparently Borderlands 4 runs like poop.
on the Switch or in
Yeah,
general.
on the
Uh,
Switch. No, on the
yeah,
Switch
I
too.
wouldn't be getting it on the Switch too.
Yeah, I know they because they had it on the floor at Gamescom apparently,
Yeah.
and it did not run well.
Oh,
No,
bummer.
obviously there's plenty of that game's coming out later.
Yeah.
It's not coming out, on Switch day and date, but yeah, apparently it was struggling. So,
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. Yeah, I'll check out Street Fighter stuff on that first. Um, I I'm playing a game that you don't know this yet, but I'm going to review it for the podcast. Um, but I can't review it yet. I can't review it until September 6th.
oh,
But I am allowed to talk about it. I just can't talk about it in the form of a review.
so you're
And I
basically able to
did
say that you're playing
clarify
it.
that before I
Okay.
said anything. um, it's not anything huge. It's actually a game called Splatterbot. It's on PC. It will be on PC and Switch, I believe. I'm playing it on Switch, and I can't. Like I said, it's not a review. So what I'll tell you is, um, indie game, indie price tag. Think Roombas meet Splatoon in like a party game.
Oh, this looks
So
neat. I'm looking
yeah,
this up. This looks neat.
so that's what I'll say for now. And we have a Border with Video Games has a connection now with um, uh, an Australian indie company that I'm gonna let Kyle know about, so Kyle can request some games too if he is interested. But uh, they provided us with the keys, and I don't think an interview is on the table because of Australia and time
Mm,
zones, but it was an option at one point. But look, I'll talk about Splatterbot in a couple weeks, or
yeah.
actually the next time we record, I'll talk about Splatterbot. But I would say look for like a I'll do like a review on like an Instagram review for it when it
Sure.
comes out when the embargo is released.
Yeah. Release date is September 4th. So
Okay, yeah. So a couple days after that, I'll drop that for you. So yeah, I've been playing that. And last, it's probably not last, but and maybe not least, but close. I think I played Delta Force with Kyle and myself for a little bit as well. So Delta Force, if anyone doesn't know, it is currently a free to play game, free to play shooter. Um, if you know like the menu system from the first Descendant, it pretty much is that menu system. Um, if it's not made by the same company, I'd be shocked. Uh, or there'd be some copyright infringement things. But think of it that Delta Force is a game that existed in the past. I know it from my PC gaming days of a long time ago, like 2000. Like Delta Force was a big game on PC, and yeah, it's just like a war shooter, right? So Delta Force that's out now is trying to maybe capitalize on Battlefield hype, or just coincidentally launching around that time of the beta. But I don't know, Kyle. I don't know what I want to say. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to slam the game because I think it's fun for what it is, but I don't know that it's great. I think like I would play if you wanted to play again,
mm-hmm.
but I would rather go back to like FBC Firebreak or something. It kind of tries to do Battlefield meets Call of Duty. Like the maps are pretty big. The player count I think is too big for the maps though.
Mm.
So like when you're playing through the missions, you'll like just walk up like a ridge and you'll see like 30 people on your team standing in the same area. And that's very uncommon for like
mm-hmm.
multiplayer shooters, I think. Um, I do like that there's different characters that have different abilities, just like First Descendant or Descendants. And I do like I do like how the combat feels once I got into it. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't know that I'm any good at it, but I do like how it feels, and I like the um, there's like their own little gun customization screen which you can
Mm-hmm.
mess around with. There's some fun things in there, but it's definitely very blatantly free to play, like right in your face about it. There's like 100 menus just to go through to get all your exclamation marks checked off every time you do something.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like me and you can't have like a little red dot or an exclamation mark showing on a thing, you might want to like avoid it like the plague. What do you think about Delta Force?
It's a good question. So here's what I'll say. I am not a fan of this game. It's not bad per se, but it's also not good. It is very much a free to play version of Battlefield. That's what it
Yeah,
is. That is what it's trying to do. It's what it's very, very much like it just wears this on its sleeve, right? Like it's
yeah,
not trying to um hide what it is. And I think that what is challenging about any first person shooter is that for those games to be succeed or for people to like those games, at least from my perspective, they have to feel good to play. And talking about a game feeling good is this really like nebulous thing, right? Like,
yeah,
how do you be like, oh, this feels good? Like, I don't know how you explain that per se. Um, some games like Call of Duty feel historically really good to play.
yeah,
This game just doesn't feel good
yeah,
when you're playing now. Number one, and that we could have shut this off, but right, we're playing against PC players while playing on console with a controller.
yeah, yeah,
Immediate significant disadvantage there, like
yeah,
not even close, right? Um, but there's just so much visual clutter in the game that it's really, really hard to like see opponents,
Yeah.
your teammate. Like, it's just very hard to tell like who or what anything is, and the time to kill is extremely short.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when you can't see anything, that makes it really that much
Yeah.
more challenging. And I think one of the and then maybe on server side, there were gunfights where I was like, how am I getting no regs here? Like, from my
Yeah.
perspective, I am definitely hitting this person, but it does not seem like I am hitting them. And like I said, that's just a latency server things typically, right? Like what the server sees and what I see are not the same thing, and that's fine when you're having this big of fights, but it just, yeah, like I just wait for Battlefield. Like, I know that this is free, so if you don't want to pay any money to play a game, go ahead and play this, I guess. But I kind of equate this to, okay, go with me on this journey. I don't know if this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Back in a former life, I was a really avid cyclist. Is where my gamer tag comes from. Like all of these things, I used to bike a ton, and I used to, for a while, sold bikes. I had a job where I was selling bicycles to people, and I was not selling cheap bicycles. I was selling very expensive bicycles to people,
Yeah.
right? And without fail, almost every day, someone would come in and be like, "Why would I spend five, seven, $12,000 on a bike?" I agree. Most people should not, but it might be worthwhile for you to spend $800 on a bike rather than $60 on a bike, right?
Yeah.
And the what I always told everyone is like, hey, this that for okay, in general, right? The reason the bike costs more, um, is what it's going to do is going to make you enjoy doing the thing more.
Yeah.
Like, if you buy a more expensive bike, the act of riding your bike is just more fun because the bike is more responsive, it's faster, it's light, it's all of these things, right? So yes, you can buy a very inexpensive bike from a big box store, and they will both get you from point A to point B. But typically, if you spend more money on a bike, the process of going to point A to point B is going to be more enjoyable, and you're probably actually going to want to ride your bike more often, right? It's
Yeah.
going to empower you to do the thing more.
Yeah.
That very much is Delta Force.
Yeah.
If you want to play a squad based shooter that a big team battle with huge groups on fighting groups with you know vehicles and all this stuff and nobody resing anyone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you can, but you could also probably wait for a couple months to buy Battlefield and probably enjoy doing the thing more, and as a
Yeah.
result, want to do it more.
Yep.
That's kind of my thoughts, I guess, on Delta Force.
Well, that is very well said. Well said. That's all I've been playing, so you can keep on keeping on the
Okay.
game thought.
Well, I'm going to pivot real briefly to board games,
Yeah.
and then I'll go
Yeah.
back and I'll
Yeah.
finish up video games. So on the board game side, just one new board game that got played in the last month, and that is the game Harmonies. Harmonies came out. It's a 2024 game. It was designed by Johan Benvenuto. And Harmony is actually a pretty big game in 2024, up for a lot of awards, won some awards, uh, pretty well liked. It's actually in the Board Game Geek Talk 100 already. It's ranked number 72 overall. Uh, and it's a little challenging how to explain how to play this game. It is an abstract strategy game where basically what you're doing is you're trying to create habitats that entice creatures to come live like in these habitats that you've created. But the way you're doing this is like a hex based board. You have these tokens that you grab that are just round discs that are different colors. Those different colors represent different habitats. And then you have cards that are different animals, and the cards will say like, okay, if you have like in a straight line two blue discs and then a green disc, like this animal will come like live in your thing. Okay, so that's kind of high level what's going on. So on your turn, all you're doing is in the center of the table there are five little circles. In each of those five circles are three of the discs. You have to take all the discs from one of those circles and then place them on your board. At any time during this, though, you also have the option of these community cards, which are the different animal varieties that, again, have those keys of like, oh, these three discs in this format, or these two discs but stacked too high, or whatever it might be. So you're just really trying to decide, okay, what animals do I want to try to bring based off what discs are available? You know, how do I want to do this? And the more animals you get off of each card, the more points that you get. What gets tricky about this, though, and what then will start to differentiate this from Cascadia, because this
Mm,
sounds a lot like
yeah.
Cascadia, right? Like when you think about it, is that when you're building these landscapes and you're deciding what creatures you want to bring, for instance, let's say that the card, let's say it's otters, and the otters are two blue discs followed by a green disc. Okay. And I don't even know if that's right, but anyway, let's just say it is. But then for the otter to like be in your habitat, you have to on that green disc take a cube, which is available on the otter card, and place it on that green disc. So you
Yeah.
have the two blues and the green. Now you've placed that cube on the green, which means for more otters, you can't use that green disc anymore. You got to go find another green. You got to go get another green
Mm,
disc followed by two. But all the cards are totally different for their structures, where those cubes goes, what the colors are. So it's like this like mishmash of like, okay, if I get this and I have to put the cube on this one, that means that this animal won't work because it needs to have a cube that on that one as well, but it'll already have a cube, so I can't do that thing. So it's very explaining the game once you look at it and you sit someone down and say like, okay, here's what you do on your turn. It makes perfect sense very quickly.
yeah.
But then there is like some interesting decisions you have to make about like what cards you're going to take to get what creatures and what animals you want to have come live on your area. And also, like, there's some randomness, right? Because you're just pulling tiles out of a bag and putting them on the disc. And it's like, okay, every time you take three more come out. Who knows what they're going to be, right? So you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to focus on a lot of mountains. But then suddenly you don't get any gray discs for a long time, right? Like there's all these like kind of things that play into it. And then you get points both for the habitats that you create as well as the animals that you bring in. So both of them score you points at the end. Um the game is great. I love it. I would highly recommend it to anyone who's interested in a board game. Like I said, it sounds slightly complicated when I explain it, but honestly, if like you look down, just sit down and look at it, it's very, very straightforward as far as what you're doing. It though it's not designed by him, it feels like an Emerson game in the
Okay.
sense it's very easy to explain. Most people are going to grasp how to play it within a turn or two, but then there's just really interesting decisions to make, even though the game isn't super complex.
Yeah.
So really like it. It's very inexpensive as well. I think it's like a $30 or $40 game. So if you have and are interested, highly recommend Harmonies. It plays 1 to 4 players. I think the sweet spot's probably 2 or 3. I think 4 would be fine. I think the solo version seems okay, or the solo mode seems okay, but I think 2 or 3 is probably best. It really sings at 2. It's really, really good at 2. And the nice thing at 2 is it goes pretty quickly,
Yeah.
because you can be thinking about what you want to do. And yes, someone could take like the stack of 3 tokens that you wanted, but there's like a 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 chance of them doing that. So you can be thinking about like what you want to do on your turn. So it can go pretty, pretty quick. We were able to play full games in less than 30 minutes without much issue. So
Nice.
yeah, that's Harmonies. Highly recommended. All right. On the video game front, then, obviously, we already talked about Delta Force. There's 2 other video games that I've played then. Very briefly, I'll talk about Sword of the Sea.
Mm,
Sword of the Sea is the new game from Giant Squid. Giant Squid previously did Abzu and the Pathless. But before that, Matt Nava, I think it's Matt Nava, was one of the people who worked on like Flower and Journey, and all of those good things. So this is once they kind of Matt went off and formed his own studio. This is Giant Squid's third game. Just came out on August 19th, released as part of PlayStation Plus. It's also on Steam right now. I have no doubts it'll eventually go to additional platforms, but that's kind of where it is right now. This is what, for lack of a better term, this is a vibes game.
yeah.
Just, you are a warrior who is, back, or however you want to look at it, and has a sword, but there's no one else left. So there's nobody to fight. So the sword then becomes kind of your snowboard for kind of cruising through the world. This game wears its inspirations from Journey and things like that on its sleeve. Um, but if you're looking for just a really chill game, it's apparently very short, 3 to 4 hours to finish it. I think I'm like 75% of the way through. But if you're looking for just a chill vibes based game, I really recommend this. The music is great. It's by Austin Wintory, who obviously did like Journey and all these other things as well. But so the music is really, really good. But more than anything, the game just feels great to play. similar to like the swinging in Spider-Man, just like going around this world and like float like snowboarding slash surfing on the sand and all the things in this world on your sword feels awesome. It just feels
Yeah.
really great to like navigate this space. And as a result, even for that, it's, an easy 3-4 hour chill out activity. Like I highly, highly recommend it. I'm having a great time with it. There are some like high score things you can do because you can do like tricks and things like that, but it's not really a focus of the game. But you can do that if you want to. But yeah, overall, really enjoying it. So if you have the PS Plus Extra, I think is what it's on, go ahead and nab it. Otherwise, like I said, it's on Steam. I don't think it's super expensive, but I have no doubts it'll come out to other platforms in the future. But sort of the sea, really, really enjoying it.
Cool.
The other game then that I got is Mafia: The Old Country. So this came out earlier in August by Hangar 13, the folks who did Mafia 3. They did the remaster of Mafia 1. And then they said, like, hey, we're working on this, Mafia: The Old Country game. It's a, smaller linear narrative story. I am so, I don't want to say confused. If you look right now, I think on OpenCritic, the game has like a 74.
Hmm.
Okay. I mean, I think maybe that's an appropriate score for the game. This is a game I definitely enjoy more than I like, maybe, if that makes sense. I don't really know how to say it. I don't, that score seems so bad, and I don't know why.
You think
Because
it's way
74,
better than that, or
I
how
don't,
how are you feeling so
so
far?
here's what's really interesting, like weird about this game is I approached it. I always knew that this game was like a linear narrative focused game, right? And what's kind of odd about it is an open world in the sense of like when you are told like, hey, here's your next part of the story that you got to go do, you jump in a vehicle or jump on a horse and got to go there. Like you could drive wherever you wanted to. Like you don't have to go to the thing. There are some open world things to go do. Like there's some like hidden collectibles to get. There's a store you can go to. But like I just played it as like a linear narrative game.
Yeah.
That's what it was pitched as. That's what it's always been talked about as. So I get a little, I know a lot of the criticism of this game is that it's um maybe undercooked, that there's not a ton to do in the game other than like the story. But
Yeah.
like that's what it was always pitched. So I get this weird feeling of like people are reviewing it for what they wanted it to be rather than what it is, right?
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of like people are like, well, hey, the knife fights, there's knife fights in the game, like they don't ever change. Um, you don't like level up anything. Well, yeah, you know what? You don't in Uncharted either, and I love those games, right?
Yeah.
And Uncharted scores really well, right? Like, so maybe the story's not as good as Uncharted, maybe I guess, but I don't know. I really enjoyed this game. I had a really good time with it. It's beautiful. I think the voice acting is amazing. The characters are characters I was interested in and invested in. Um, I do think that is the story a little predictable. Yeah, like there was nothing there that like really blew my mind as far as what was going on. I think the game asks some interesting questions in the story without coming out and asking them. Um, I was kind of disappointed that I didn't see a lot of conversation about that, in that everyone's like, oh, it's super, super like a rote story. And I mean, it is to a degree, but it is asking really some interesting things without just coming out and saying it. So it's like, well, maybe they should just come out and said it, and maybe people would appreciate it more. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It took me maybe 10-12 hours to finish. Um, I deleted it after I finished it. Like, there's really no reason to go back
Sure.
right now, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed Mafia: The Old Country. So I think if you like, it is maybe a little bit copy and pasty from Mafia 1 as far as kind of like the where the story goes.
Yeah.
So if you liked Mafia 1, you might like this. But that's what I'm just so confused by, that this game, as someone who just recently played Mafia 1 and Mafia 2, like this is just like those games. It is an
Yeah.
open world that is just there to make it feel like you're existing in an actual place.
You just have a bigger
Rather than
audience playing it now that wanted Grand Theft Auto or something instead of the other games.
right. And that's kind of where I mentioned before of like, right, well, with this remaster of like Metal Gear Solid Delta, will
Yeah, it'll
a
be interesting.
2004 game hold up? And it's like this game kind of feels like a game that was made like 20 years or like, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Just looks really nice, right? So that doesn't mean I think it should maybe score it higher, any higher than it did. It's just a game that I liked much more than what, like, if you look at the Open Critic score, I like the game more than what the score is. I don't even know if I would score it necessarily higher, but I
Yeah,
like it more than
it's
that.
at
So
74 right now,
yeah,
which is interesting because it's 2 points ahead of a game that I've meant to ask you if you knew about, but this Echoes of the End game, I have like such a want to buy this game, and it's currently at a 72.
is this that the fantasy RP Western
Yeah,
RPG?
it's
Yes.
I don't know that it's not I think it's just action adventures. Maybe it's billed as an RPG. I don't think it is though. I think
Oh,
it's
the
getting
cinematic third-person action adventure game.
yeah,
I
yeah,
actually
yeah,
I looked at this as well. I
yeah,
am interested in this game. Um, yeah, I'm interested. I couldn't quite get myself to pull the trigger on it,
yeah.
but this is definitely a game that I was interested in. I think this also would be a game that maybe I would like more than it's good. I don't know
Right,
though.
right, right.
So, but yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't. I mean, part of the reason I'm salty is that I had or I have Mafia: The Old Country on my fantasy critic. I was just really hoping
Bummer.
that it might
Yeah, that
like
stinks.
that it might. But I mean, I was actually doing really well until the last month. I was doing really well until then because I also had um Monster Hunter Wild, or the new Monster Hunter game, and I had Death Stranding
Oh,
2. Like,
ouch.
so I was doing really well.
Yeah.
And I just had a couple of stinkers the last month, but it is what it is. So yeah, anyway, Mafia: The Old Country. I think if you're looking for a interesting linear story, go for it.
Yeah.
It's $50, I think, if I recall. That's tough, I think, for a lot of
Oh,
people. $50 for a 10-12 hour game is gonna be tough.
sure.
So maybe wait for a sale. But I do think it's worth the play though, because it is really beautiful. The voice acting is amazing. The music is good. I just wish there was more of it. You hear the same themes pretty regularly, but I think it's good for what it is. And like I said, maybe a little bit of a copy and paste Mafia story, but still a well done version of that story at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool.
All right. I apologize if you can hear my dog. She's going nuts, and I don't know why.
Well, you're
All right.
welcome to
Well, hey,
check.
let's move on and let's talk a little bit about the board game world. So let's talk about some board game news. This is something, Josh, I know you had also posted in the Discord.
Yeah.
But hey, come on. Issues a profit warning saying losses could reach $8 million for the first half of 2025, almost 3 times its overall profit from the last 10 years. So, Josh, this is from the folks over at Board Game Wire.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? We've talked a lot about whether CMON was going to be around. They did a lot of selling of things and cutting of things, but now it looks like they might be losing $6 to $8 million in the first 6 months of this year. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I actually shouldn't I guess I'm shocked and I feel like I shouldn't be, but I was genuinely shocked when I saw that because we talked about all the stuff that they're selling off, their IPs and I mean, thinking more about it, it makes more sense the reason like they saw this coming and that's why they're selling everything off, but we were just kind of thinking it was a reaction to how bad they did last year. And really it was a reaction to how bad they knew they were doing this year, I would imagine. And uh, yeah, they're just trying to salvage what they can right now. Uh, and that's scary. That's a lot of money to lose for anybody, but for a company that is as big and kind of small as CMON, because it's for some reason I always feel like they're bigger than they are, and they are pretty big because I compare them to like Pegasus Spiel and stuff like that. But realistically, like uh, they're they're not like I don't. We talked about how many employees they had in the past. I don't think it's very many compared to like the amount of money that they were doing on Kickstarters and stuff. I think that they have a small staff compared to like well, obviously like an Asmodee, but even compared to like Days of Wonder and stuff like that, I think they're on par. Um, but I don't know. It's kind of sad and scary. I don't have a lot of love for CMON, but it's still
Hmm.
not great to see in the board game industry in general.
Well, and as a perspective, as you mentioned, we talked last year about how they had lost, last year they lost $3 million total over the course of the entire year.
Yeah,
Um, you know, in 2020, right, pandemic year, right, they lost $4.9 million in 2020.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When shipping was basically not happening, everything was shut down. Uh, a lot of board game companies that was a really challenging time for them. So they lost 4.9 million in that year. First half just of this year, they're going to lose $6 to $8 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They are going to probably by year's end, if this continues, more than double their losses from 2020.
Yeah, they won't be a thing anymore.
So yeah, I have to wonder too, because they sold off all of these different brands and IP that they have, but like board game companies aren't ripe with money. So I can't imagine they got huge swaths of money for these IP.
No, and those are IPs they were making a lot of money on.
Right.
So now they have just shrunk their income stream too.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Who knows? I think unfortunately, they have said they're really just focusing on the projects that they have in process and they're not, adding new ones and all that good stuff, which is nice that they're trying to finish those things they got going, but that also means that they're not making any more income, right? Like people have already
Right.
pledged for those games. So, yeah, we'll see, but things are not
And their
looking
CFO
great.
resigned as well.
Yes, their
Yeah,
CFO also resigned. So,
also
um
part of it.
yeah, things are looking a little challenging over in the world of CMON. So, we'll keep you up to date as we always do if there's more news there, but it is looking like a tough go for them moving forward. But yeah. All right, Josh, next on the news wire. One of the hottest games of Gen Con 2025 is being recalled. This is a game we talked
Oh
about a
boy.
little bit on our preview episode.
Yeah.
Uh, Devere is recalling all copies of the newly released Ace of Spades after backlash over slavery depictions and artwork and apologizes for causing harm. So I know I had shared this in our Discord when this first broke. But Ace of Spades, one of the big games of Gen Con this year, sold out every day that it was there. There were reviews of the game ahead of time, if I recall. I think that reviews came out prior, and I don't remember this being mentioned by anyone in any review.
Yeah.
But I could have missed one, so I'm not saying no one did. But in any of the reviews I saw, this was not talked about.
Yeah.
But part of Ace of Spades is the theme of it is supposed to be nods to and embracing Western films. So that's kind of what the um, theme of the game is this embracement of Western film culture in the United States. But that includes having one card that is called a slaver and one card that is a fugitive, which is a pretty interesting depiction, we'll say, of
A
African
feral
American.
black man.
Yeah, it literally is. Yes.
Yeah.
So after this, game came out, it was brought up on Board Game Geek, and Devere reached out and talked to, um, the folks who had brought up some concerns, um, and yeah, Devere then said, "Hey, our mistake. Here's what we were trying to do, but our bad. We definitely made a mistake." And they took full responsibility for the harm caused. They offered apologies. They have also are recalling all copies of the game. They're giving refunds to anyone who asks for a refund. They're redoing the art to kind of update the game and re-release it. And they even went so far as to ask anyone who had social media posts about it that were like influencers who had done reviews and things like that to remove their reviews of the game. So, Josh, what were your thoughts when seeing all this?
Well, Kyle, I was shocked, if I'm being honest, as we just recorded an episode where I was like, hey, this is on my I absolutely want to get this game
Yeah.
list. uh yeah, pretty wild that this got through any form of checks.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, as someone who works, this is not this is not an excuse for them, but as working in a company that has a lot of checks and balances,
Mm-hmm.
they do get missed a lot, and they there is a system of checks and balances where multiple people should be checking things
Right.
multiple times, and a lot of it, if I'm generalizing, you could chalk it right down to I've done this 1,000 times. I'm bored. I'm not looking closely anymore, and people miss things.
Right.
And sometimes the whole list of people that are supposed to check these things miss them. And I don't have enough knowledge of the board game printing policies or standards or however they work those things,
Hmm.
but I have to imagine somebody had to have seen those cards multiple times and not said anything or said
Right.
something to the wrong person. I don't think this is one of those things that can fall through the cracks um, when you have so many people involved. It's not just the artist, it starts with the artist, but then that has to get approved by somebody, and then that also has to get like there's so many things to prevent this from happening.
Hmm.
I think it's just and I'm it's just crazy. I'm so close to making a like political comments, but I'm not going to. But I feel like we're at a point where people are trying to make stuff like this fine again,
Right.
and I don't know if that is a situation here, but I mean, it kind of feels like maybe some of those people who want that were involved a little bit, maybe, because those weren't just drawn by accident. Very specific drawings.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. It's just like they interviewed um the group from Our Family Plays Games, and like disturbing and disappointing is like the best way to describe it.
Hmm.
For anyone of any color, if you see this,
Yeah.
like it's disturbing and it's disappointing coming from a very like renowned new-ish board game studio. Like they've been making a lot of good content,
Hmm.
and it's obviously going to affect them in some way.
Right.
But yeah,
So
it's a bummer.
yeah, and what I and this is, let me be clear, I am not excusing this.
Yeah.
Um, I think what is very challenging though, especially for a company like Devere, right? Like if you look Devere up, you will find an Orlando address for them. But Devere is not originally a United States company.
No.
They I think were formed like in Brazil, like they have offices in Europe. I mean, they're not primarily a US company. Um, and as a result, my guess is, and this doesn't mean, again, this doesn't excuse it. I am guessing because they talked about how their intent was like, here's what our intent of what we're trying to accomplish. Here's like, we're being inspired by things like Django Unchained and all these other things. I what I wonder is if there is just a cultural misunderstanding of like the representation of like what this would look like from someone in the United States compared to someone in Brazil or someone in Europe, or I wonder how much that played into it. And again, not saying that makes it okay, but it's kind of one of the things that I wonder a little bit about is that because when Devere came out and issued their apology, and I don't know that this is, I tried to fact check this and I wasn't able to find a firm source on it. Some people were upset because they said it felt like that the apology had been that they used like AI to translate it into English.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second. So that's like
So you're doing something
this is
even
what we're gonna get
also
upset
bad.
about now, right? Like they like literally can't do anything right apparently, like because they so that was where I first when I read that and started looking at it, I was like, oh, I do just wonder,
Yeah.
was there like, hey, because right when I look at it, I'm like, how did someone not say something, right? But I do wonder, like from a completely different cultural lens, would you be like, well, I guess that's kind of weird, but I guess if that's what they think, right? Like I don't know, like I just
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's where it gets so challenging of, they yeah, how do you appropriately account for all perspectives, and not saying that if it's okay in Europe it should be fine with us, I'm not saying that at all, but I do
Yeah.
wonder like how do you possibly try to, when you're releasing games in X number of countries around the globe, actually make sure you're accounting for all of these things, because I think they ran into some issues with their White Castle game as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wonder how challenging that must be when it's not your primary
I mean, if you're
culture.
gonna step out of your comfort zone's not the right word, but your knowledge base to try to make any type of art for another culture, you have to be super duper careful and
Yeah.
thoughtful. And
Oh, absolutely.
and it doesn't matter that it's a board game, like they have
Hmm.
to do that same thing. And yeah, with the White Castle thing too as well. So hopefully they fix this problem going forward, because two strikes it looks like for them.
Yeah. What I will say though, like I do genuinely feel like they are doing literally everything they can to try to make this right.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too.
Obviously, first step would be to not have the issue happen. But since it did and it was brought to their attention, I feel like they're doing basically everything I could ask them to try and fix this.
I agree with you. There's just one thing that they said that really just, I don't know if it rubbed me the wrong way, but it just sounded like, so when they responded to Board Game Wire,
Hmm.
their answer, De Vere's rapper, whoever said, we didn't realize it was at the time of publication when asking if they agreed with the characterization of the fugitive as racist. So they said, we didn't realize it was at the time of publication, but now we understand that it is and deeply regret it. But like, they're saying that they saw the artwork, they're admitting it.
Well, and that's where I wonder if, like I said, being having a different cultural like lens is what
Yeah, I get.
caused the
Yeah,
issue,
yeah, I
right?
guess.
Like,
I
is
guess.
that from their cultural lens, they didn't see because I okay. And I'm going to be very charitable with what I'm about to say, and maybe this is me being way too charitable. And I'm not even saying I fully agree with this, but
Yeah,
I could see a world where they're like, this is so obviously over the top that no, like, this is a caricature that no
right,
one would take seriously,
right.
right? I could see them if they didn't understand like the historical like context, where I could see a world where they might look at it that way.
Yeah,
And that's why they would be like,
that's
hey,
possible.
yeah, we didn't think it was racist. But now that we've been educated about the history, the understanding, the, kind of where this comes from, yeah, we get it. We messed up. And that's where I actually am like totally okay with them saying that because that's what we'd want someone to do, right? Like
Right.
so often when people get someone's like, "Hey, did you really intend for that to be that way?" Immediately people shut down, put up walls. They're like, "I'm not racist. I didn't do this
Yeah,
thing."
yeah, yeah,
It's because we can't admit, like, well, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know that thing I said was racist, right? But
yeah,
now I do, and I won't do it again, right? That in some ways, to me, is like the best thing
yeah.
because
Yep.
if they did know it was racist and released it, wouldn't that be way worse? Like, I don't know. Like,
Well, that's what I mean. Like, it sounds like, and again, it just sounds like they're saying we're sorry you were offended, and they may not be saying that, but I just have been hearing that so much from other like places
sure.
that it kind of blends in there with me. But I
Yeah.
think I like your thought better. So I think it's definitely, it doesn't matter now, the damage is done, and they have to
Right.
recuperate. So
Yeah.
um, we'll see. But yeah, just not a great look for them.
Oh, it's
But
not.
yeah, but
Absolutely
people
not.
make mistakes. Also, that
Mhm.
is very true. People make mistakes, and we have to also be able to forgive people.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think it's like I said, they don't have um like everything is good to go stamp from me,
Right,
right? But they do
right, right,
have
right.
I'm going to be cautious. I'm
Yes,
going to that's going to sit in my brain. So when there are new games come out in the future, I'm going to be like, "Huh,
let's check
let's
out the artwork.
check like that's going to be there."
Yeah,
But because of what they've done, I'm not like, no, I'm not going to look at their games ever again.
yeah,
But I am going to be
agreed.
very careful when looking at their games in the future.
Sure.
So but hey, on a more positive note, speaking of Gen Con, it was big. Also from the folks over at Board Game Wire, Gen Con exhibitor numbers rebound to record levels despite tariff uncertainty. Biggest ever attendance reaches almost 72,000 people.
Yeah.
More than 575 exhibitors at Gen Con this year, Josh. What were your thoughts on seeing these numbers? Pleasantly surprised? What you expected? What are your thoughts, sir?
I was hoping they would go lower because this makes the most sense for the next convention for me to go to.
Uh-huh.
So seeing the numbers aside didn't make me feel great about going to it. But I would say they have so much space, right?
Yeah.
So I know like they show the lobbies and the people waiting to get in, and it looks
Mhm.
insane. But I think if you watch any videos from like an hour after doors, everyone's walking in and out, no problem.
100%. Yeah.
You know, my bigger worry in that situation is like food stuff and things like
Mhm.
that, and like PAX Unplugged, it's right next to South Station in Philly, so there's food everywhere.
Right.
Like, I don't know what Indy's set up like, but for me, like I feel like I got a couple board game conventions left in me, and I really want to make Gen Con one of them. So I'm happy that they're doing well. Big numbers means they'll keep doing it and doing it bigger and better. Um, so good for them. And like a lot of the Dice Tower videos, it didn't seem too bad. Crowd wise, there certainly were points where I would probably skip an aisle because of how the aisle looked,
Right.
but it looked very open. A lot of different places to be. So lots. That's a lot of people, but good for them.
Yeah, I do think that in a lot of ways I feel like this is kind of like going to like a theme park even, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
right away when things open, it's gonna be very, very busy. If you want to eat like early or late, right? Like lunch at 11 or
Yeah.
at like 1:30 or
Yeah.
2, right? Dinner at like 4 or 8,
Yeah.
like I think that's kind of how it works. From what I know, I've obviously never been to Gen Con. They do have food trucks that are there, but it sounds like even if you just go like a few blocks away from the convention center, like
Yeah.
you're totally fine.
That's where you want to go. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just go a couple blocks away, you're totally fine. Even like a 5-7 minute walk, like every minute you walk, like the lines decrease significantly. I do think I assume that next year they'll add like 500 more tickets, right? So that they can set a new record again. Like
Yeah.
because one would assume that if you set your total at 72,000 total, like that in theory, isn't that just what the venue can hold? Because
Right.
otherwise, why aren't you making it higher than that, right? So
Yeah.
you feel like they must just go up a little bit so they can always every year have a new record. But yeah, I would like to go to this. Sometime next year. It's July 30th to August 2nd, so it's always a tough time of year for me, but it would be cool to go for sure. So I guess also maybe the industry is being reasonably healthy, or it is like, hey, we have to go to this thing because we need to be there to sell
We
things.
have to go. Yeah. We
Yeah.
need to sell stuff.
Yeah. So I think it could be kind of either one of two ways there. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, Gen Con, there we go. All right. And the final board game topic, we'll talk very briefly about the Dice Tower Awards. So the Dice Tower Awards were held or the ceremony was held at Gen Con.
Yep.
So they always announce their nominations in June, and then at Gen Con they announce the winners. So these are for the 2024 games. So any game that came out in 2024, these are kind of the way the awards shook out. So we'll go through them pretty quickly. But best welcoming game went to River Valley Glassworks. Josh, are you going to pick this game up anytime soon?
Every time I'm in Target, I want to buy it. I will eventually have that game.
Yeah, it is a cool looking game. It is very affordable. Like you said, the fact that it's in Target makes it, very approachable for people. So yeah, I have to add that to my list, I suppose. Best game from a small publisher went to Slay the Spire, the board game. Look at those video games influencing board
Nice.
games. What are your thoughts on Slay the Spire winning?
I cool. I haven't played the video game, so I don't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah,
But
the video game is
I'm
cool.
glad it won.
Yes. Best strategy game went to SETI, Search for
Nice.
Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Obviously, this game has been pretty hot, but thoughts on this one, Josh?
Yeah, it's definitely a game I want to play.
Yeah. All right. Best two-player game, Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. I have this game, but I haven't played it yet. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Look, I got it right here too.
We both have it and have not played it. Look at us go. A little bummed Kelp didn't win, but not surprised that this
Hmm.
is the winner. Best solo game went to Draft and Write Records. Josh, would you? I don't
I'm
know,
not.
man. We just aren't much of solo board game people.
No, not interested. Not
So,
interested.
Most innovative game went to Bomb Busters, which I think for the most part I agree with. And Bomb Busters
Yeah,
is a pretty innovative game.
cool.
Do you have any desire to play this game, Josh?
Not after hearing you talk about it, no, it's not. It doesn't sound like it's for me.
Gotcha. Bomb Busters also won Best Cooperative Games, and probably no surprise there. Probably no surprise here either for Best Party Game went to Flip 7. This game is
Mm.
kind of all the rage right now. Thoughts on Flip 7, Josh?
I got it right here. I haven't played it.
We're so good at this. Best Theming went to Rock Hard 1977. Again, not totally surprised. This game, hey, speaking of
You better
publishers
check
of the
out the
year.
artwork in that game first.
So, designed by Jackie Fox, who was a member of the rock band The Runaways. So, not surprising
Mhm.
necessarily that she'd be pretty good at making sure that the game was thematically appropriate. Best game from a new designer went to SETI, Search for
Nice.
oh my gosh, Extraterrestrial Intelligence from Thomas Holick. Surprise there, Josh.
No, not no. I think we thought it would be between that and Rock Hard, anyways.
Yep. So yeah, I'm not surprised there, especially with how many games Thomas Holick has released in the last year. Best artwork went on Conscious Mind, which is I think what we pretty much thought as well.
Yeah,
So no surprise there. Best reprint went to Through the Desert.
yeah.
Reiner Knizia, being able to not only release a lot of games, but re-release a lot of games.
Release them again.
Best board game production went to Fractured Sky, which
Cool.
is really about the only thing I've really heard about this game is how
It
good it
looks
looks and
nice.
how
Yeah,
yeah. So, which isn't bad. I mean, just maybe not the only thing you want to hang your hat on.
yeah.
And then Game of the Year went to SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, against
Nice.
a rather big group of high performing games. Josh, knowing that SETI won Game of the Year,
Yeah.
how high does that push it up on your to acquire list?
Uh, I think I'm probably. I won't. I don't have enough interest. I don't think between people I know to ever get this played. So I don't think I'll be buying it. I really want to play it, but it probably won't get added to the library.
I mean, it is pretty heavy, Josh. Probably heavier than you typically enjoy it. The
Yeah,
one
yeah,
thing
yeah.
about this game, though, is the board is just so darn cool.
It's super cool. Yeah,
It's super cool.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, this is definitely now on the short list for me. Um, because as someone who really enjoys really heavy games, this definitely bumped up as far as that goes. But that was the big winner. So congratulations to Thomas Holick and SETI on Game of the Year.
yeah,
All right, Josh, let's switch things up. Let's talk about some video game news. Transparently, this is pretty much just going to be about opening night live.
yeah.
But we are going to very briefly before that talk about, Nintendo doing their own thing, right? Like opening night live is happening. They could have had information about Kirby Air Riders there, but they're like, no, Jeff
Sure.
Keighley, we want no part of you. We're going to do our own 45-minute direct about Kirby Air Riders. Josh, A, did you watch this direct? B, as a proud Switch 2 owner, what are your thoughts on Kirby's Air Riders? Are you going to be picking this up? What do you think?
I gotta be honest with you. I just pulled it up. I watched seconds of it
Okay.
and then stopped watching it. So I didn't even get to gameplay. I just got
Oh,
got
okay.
to the composer talking or the game director. Uh so I know Kirby Air Riders was a big uh GameCube or N64 game.
GameCube. GameCube, Cube, I
It's
think.
one of the previous Nintendo game. I know it's
Yeah,
older game.
GameCube.
Um
GameCube. Definitely GameCube.
yeah, I'm looking at it now. Maybe my son will be interested in this. I have no interest in this game at all. I have Mario Kart World, and at best, it's another racing game, and at worst, it's a worse racing game. And I know I'm gonna have to get Sonic Cross Worlds, um, which is
Oh,
another
yeah.
racing game. So Kirby, I don't have any room for Kirby in my life. I haven't even played his Kirby's Big Sucky Adventure or whatever it's called. I haven't even played that, but I have it. I ended up with it accidentally
hmm
um, on the Switch, and I have it. And my son played it for a little bit, but I got to be honest, it kind of looks samey. Does that make sense? It just looks like, I don't know.
Well,
It doesn't look great
since you did
to me.
since you didn't play the original, there is something in Kirby Air Riders that is pretty unique, and that's City Trial, which is kind of like it's in kind of like a battle royale,
Okay.
um, where you basically have like 5 minutes to. So you start with like your vehicle,
Yeah.
um, but you basically have like 5 minutes to pick up as many power ups as you can, like in this like city trial area.
Yeah.
um Little like kind of mini challenges happen during that, which you can participate in or if you want to or not. But then after you're done with that, you have like this 16 player like mini game like battle that happens for you to try to win that. And
Is it like the
the bat
Bowser thing from Mario Party?
kind of ish, but like the
Yeah.
battles are like total, like they are all over the place, like completely different things. Like they're like kind of like, yeah, like a whole bunch of like Mario Party mini games, but they're all
Okay.
by like driving and flying and like doing all this stuff. So
Yeah.
that part is pretty different. There is obviously just the racing part, which is, still I think slightly different maybe than Mario Kart. But I think if that's all it was, it would be really a hard sell.
Yeah.
But that city trial is pretty unique, and I think most people who are really enjoyed the GameCube version, like that, I think is much more what they were all about, the
Sure.
city trial, than the racing itself. Um, but yeah, I just Nintendo's gonna Nintendo. I watched this and I was
Yeah.
like, Sakurai, I know you can kind of do whatever you want to, right? Like, but like that man, I just can't. He's like, hey, the first game you could play all with one button. Unfortunately for this one, we had to add a second. Like it's like, oh, I'm so sorry you had to add a second button. Like that's so, I feel so bad. Like just and like talking about, he's like, man, who knew making video games was so hard? I'm like, well, I thought you would know. You make video games all the time. Like, well,
Yeah.
not all the time, but every once in a while. But then they tend to be huge and massive,
I'm
and people
God,
play them
I'm
forever.
watching this, and this Sakurai is just getting all these like shapes,
Yeah,
weights, and I'm like, what is even happening?
yeah. You
Turn?
get all the power ups, and then at some point he'll like enter, like I said, they're like little like small little battles and things that happen like during that 5 minute time period. But
Yeah.
then at the end, it's like, yeah, a whole bunch of just like mini games, kind of almost like a Fall Guys style. Like, do this mini game, then this mini game, then this mini game.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my thing. If I had a Switch 2, which I don't,
Yeah.
but if I had, I don't know if I'd spend $70 on this game.
$70.
I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's a $70 game. So yeah, maybe it's gonna be amazing. Who knows? I will say the courses that they were racing on looked way more interesting than the courses in Mario Kart World.
Yeah. I guess I would say that this course looks interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, not saying that it should be for everyone. I just was like, yeah, just the level of detail they went into in this 45 minutes. I was like, goodness gracious, they really want you to know everything about Kirby Air Riders before it comes out in November. So, yeah.
Cool.
All right, John, what do you just say on this? What is the likelihood, 1 to 10? How likely are you to have Kirby Air Riders by the end of the year? 1 being absolutely you won't own it. 10 means like 100% I will own it. Where are you on owning Kirby Air Riders before January 3rd or December 31st?
2.
2. Okay. Well, we'll see if you hold to that or not.
Well, I mean, if I don't, it'll be because that's why it's a 2. If I would say 1, if I didn't have a child, I would say a 1.
Right, but since you have a child, yep.
That's 2 possible.
All right. All right. And the big shindig that happened. Jeff Keighley did his opening night live presentation from Gamescom in Germany. Between the pre-show and the main show, it was like 2.5 hours of announcements, trailers, and other shenanigans, including developer interviews and musical performances and all that good stuff. So, what did we like? What could we have done without? Josh, did you watch this? If so, did you watch it live? How did you watch it? When did you watch it? What was your experience with opening night live?
I watched it. I did not watch the pre-show, so I know I missed some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm trying to catch up on the pre-show stuff now, but I think it's funny. There's a new Bubsy game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have any thoughts on the pre-show, but I thought the regular show was fine. Again, just fine. It wasn't incredible, but it wasn't bad. Um, I didn't think it felt too long. I think it moved. I think the pacing was pretty good for me. Like I didn't feel like the Game Awards. Like it didn't feel so like. Uh, there was a couple things like that where they had like 5 people come out that only spoke Japanese and one translator,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
they're like, "This is a good idea. Let's do this." Um, so I didn't think that that was great. Like stuff like that, the filler stuff, the Claire Scare presentation, the song was good.
Hmm.
Um, so overall, I liked it pretty good.
Yeah, I think that I, with the pre-show being 2.5 hours total, even just 2 hours for the main show, like I don't, I feel like such a stick in the mud when I say this. That's just too long. Like
It
two
is too
hours is
long.
way too long. Like these shows should not be as long as they are. It's almost impossible to have a, I think, very, very challenging to have a super compelling show for that long,
Yeah,
because even if there are things that are like, oh, that's interesting, but it's not for me, like it's just so much stuff. And part of the challenge, especially with this show, is that while there was a couple of like cool reveals, a lot of it was updates on games we already knew about, which
yeah,
isn't in itself necessarily in itself bad, but it is very much like, well, I already know about this, so especially if it's a game that I'm like, I already know I'm getting, like I don't need to know anything more.
yeah,
What's my point of watching? Like, why would I watch that as far as that goes? But
yeah,
so it wasn't bad overall. It just, yeah, I think, anything over 90 minutes, I think it gets really long. An hour, I think, would really be 60 to 75 minutes, hour 15, I think is kind of the sweet spot. 90 minutes, I think, can still be good, but anything over that, it's just so much stuff. Um, but with that being said, Josh, anything that jumped out to you, any favorite reveals, any things you saw and were like, that's stupid? What were your thoughts on the games that Jeff Keighley was showing us?
I think. Oh, I forgot to mention I played Absolem too.
Oh,
Um,
did you?
yeah, on PC. That's great. That's a lot of fun. If anyone who doesn't know, it's basically Hades meets Castle Crashers
Hmm.
meets Streets of Rage. It was a lot of fun playing the demo. There's a demo on Steam if people want to play it. I guess that was part of the pre-show. I missed that part.
Yep, it was on the pre-show.
Um, okay, so what did I really like? What I, or caught like? I didn't have the next Rocksteady Batman game being a Lego Batman game. That really caught me by surprise. But if you don't think I recognize that combat immediately,
Yeah.
um, it's probably the first Lego Batman game I'm excited to play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I that really kind of surprised me. I was very happy to see that. Um, it was really cool.
Yeah, there were rumors abound of that Batman was what, TT Games was working on.
Yeah,
And this is just an interesting like mishmash of, it seems like it is, right? Like they're kind of making their own like Batman story, but taking inspiration from, you know, the Nolan movies, the Arkham games, like comic, like kind of whatever they wanted,
yeah,
like to make like this kind of Batman story over time, which is pretty cool, right? Like, the Skywalker Saga game that they did just recently, which was pretty fun. I mean, it was really long, but it was pretty fun. Uh, I enjoyed it. So them taking that and then like bringing this to Batman and putting some of their own spin on it. I think the combat, there were some things in that Lego Star Wars game that I think are similar. It seems like they've refined it even more to make it more Arkham combat style, but there were some things in that game that kind of fit in that area too. But I am more excited to play a Batman game than I have been in a long time, because I am not a huge Batman person. But I'm excited to play this. This looks awesome.
yeah. I agree. It looks awesome. Where was I talking to you about Black Ops 7? I was talking to someone about
It
Black
was
Ops
not
7.
me, I don't
Okay.
believe.
So I was talking to someone about Black Ops 7. I wish I could remember who it was. Um, but I was kind of having a little fun with this new trailer
Hmm.
at their expense.
Okay.
Um, and because I'm like, what the heck is this game trying to be right now?
Yeah.
It's actually what I think it feels like from that trailer is like a hallucination in a Far Cry game
Yeah.
that you happen to be playing. Um, and like having some fun with it, and also talking about Battlefield 6 at the same time. The person who I was talking to, I was like, well, yeah, but like, isn't that the thing? Like, Call of Duty is kind of gets crap for being samey, like the Madden
Hmm.
update roster of it all, and like they're taking a big swing on this very clearly. So why are people giving him crap already? And I was like, that's a good point. I was like, it is like a big swing story wise for this game where it's taking place. I think the last time they did a big change was Advanced Warfare, and that also kind of got met with some criticism for the future, like the lack of space mission and all that kind of stuff. So, uh, to that person's credit, I think they made me think about this in a different light, and I actually kind of am excited to see like what these like maps look like and what the story is going to be in this game.
What I'm curious, what makes it seem like a big swing?
The like giant knives being thrown, the vortexes they travel through while they're fighting, the upside
Uh
down
huh.
roads, like the inside Inception kind of thing.
Okay. So,
Because Call of Duty players don't go to Call of Duty, and this is a generalization for the story.
sure,
They do not go by Call of Duty for story. A lot of
sure.
them, and
Yeah.
because I get made fun of by those people for only playing the story
Right.
of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So I think for them, it's a pretty big departure for their normal story content when they even have more than 5 hour campaign. This might also be 5 hours, but like
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
not usually very long.
yeah, I don't think since it's the same team as last year's, I don't think it's going to be very long.
Yeah,
I, hmm. So here is my only trepidation to that, because I do think it is an interesting way to look at that. My trepidation about that, of them making this a big swing, is Call of Duty historically has been very good at showing us things that look really different
yeah,
that actually aren't different at all.
that's a good point too.
So
Yeah,
we'll see. I hope it's totally different and that it is this like really unique. But like some of the things in there were like, okay, let's take what we did with zombies and make it a little crazier,
yeah,
right? Like that's what it was to me. But now we're putting in a single player story. That's
yep,
what it seemed like to me.
that's a good point. I wasn't thinking of it that way, but that
So,
makes sense.
and like I said, maybe it's still gonna be amazing. I don't know. But when watching the Call of Duty thing, for me, what I started to think about while I was watching it was I really want to make it so that people can no longer, when talking about their games, talk about how things were like um reworked from the ground up.
Oh,
Everything with like
yeah,
we did everything for our player. Like, yeah,
yeah,
no kidding, right? Like
yeah.
I'm really over like all of
Buzzword
those
bingo stuff.
buzzwords. Like,
Yeah,
and I felt like that was that Call of Duty present. Like the trailer was cool, but then they came out on stage and then they had that video afterwards, and it was like buzzword soup
yeah,
of like all what every buzzword we can get in to make you convinced that like we really care about you
yeah,
in
yeah.
this, right? Like that was for me more of like I was like I'm just kind of like
The interview part was pretty cringy, I would say. I didn't enjoy that part of it, especially
so
because they were like talking over each other at one point, and like that lady tried to like had to make herself known to Jeff on the stage. Like it
I
was very odd.
there was just a cue miss there, right?
Yeah,
Either
yeah.
Jeff moved on too quickly or she was supposed to do that
But it
after. There
just
was
was
just a
all
cue
very
miss.
disjointed. It just
Yeah,
felt very
100%.
like odd.
Yeah. Yeah, there was just a cue missed by someone there.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm still curious about what Black Ops is going to be. Whether it'll be interesting or not. Like benefit of the doubt, we'll see what happens. But I haven't played the last couple Call of Duties, and I'm someone who played Call of Duty every year for like a decade, and I haven't played the last couple.
yeah.
The fact that this campaign is co-op, maybe that's something
Oh,
that
I
we
do
can
like
do.
that too. Yeah,
Yeah, that's something that potentially we can play, and especially if it's the length of past most historic Call of Duty campaigns, we could probably get it done in a couple nights.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's right. 2 nights will be done.
yeah. But anyway, so yes, I am not against Call of Duty, but I will say I am more interested in Battlefield.
Oh yeah, me too, for sure, for
So
sure. I'm just seeing more on the other side of it. I still think it looks well like another Call of Duty.
Yep.
Uh, but I was happy to see some story for Onimusha, a
Mm.
game that's notably always crazy
Hmm.
and insane. I'm hoping those boss fights only look like Souls fights and not are going to actually be Souls fights.
Yeah.
Then I'll be disappointed. Uh, uh, Fallout Season 2 looks great. I
Hmm.
thought that they showed some good footage. Uh, so I'm happy to see that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What else? Oh, I'm worried about John Carpenter's Toxic Commando
Okay.
because I like the guy. I don't want to see him put out a crappy game. Like also a guy who's like into video games as well.
Yeah.
So I hope it's better than it looks. It doesn't look great.
Uh,
And it's Saber, right? So like who knows? That's like a coin toss.
right. Yeah.
They have wins, but also probably equal, if not more, non-wins. Um, what else? I'll do one more. Time Takers really has me interested on what that game is going to be like. Just because time is in its name doesn't mean I was thinking Splitters also, but it has like this like odd uh not it doesn't have a gameplay feel like Time Splitters, but like a like quirky tongue in cheek feel like Time Splitters did.
Hmm.
So I like the kind of idea of a shooter where you're kind of just getting thrown into different time periods and having to adapt um, with things like banana grenades and weird stuff. I think it looks like it could be fun. It also could be terrible. It could be like all these other service games that they try to put out that never last. And if I like it, it'll probably get closed and shut down and deleted forever. So maybe I shouldn't
Oh,
like it.
yeah.
I don't want it to be
Yeah.
Concord too.
Poor Concord.
Yeah. Oh, and I obviously loved the Ben Schwartz Outer Worlds thing.
Sure. 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 Sure.
How about you? What were your highlights?
Great question. I will say I was very happy to have them confirm or reveal, however you want to look at it, that Ghost of Yotei is going to have its Legends mode.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So I know we played, in Ghost of Tsushima, we played that,
Mm-hmm.
and it was great.
Yeah.
It was a really awesome mode. So really happy that that's coming, and honestly, totally fine with it coming in 2026. Give me time to finish the story and the main game first.
Yeah.
In this case, I am 100% okay with that. Uh, I am happy to see that Unbeatable has a release date. This is a game that I feel like has been in development forever. It's very a quirky, rhythm game where you are playing music is outlawed, so by playing music you're basically doing crimes. So like the rhythm games involves you not only playing music but also like beating up police officers and things while you're playing music. um but it's kind of like a first person, it's kind of like a little bit of a narrative adventure game with music rhythm like action in it, which I really love rhythm games and action and music games, so that's exciting to me. And I like your indie narrative focus game, so putting those together I'm pretty excited about. On the pre-show, I don't know if you saw Dench Attack. Did you see that game?
No.
It's basically Tony Hawk, but you're like a subway car. So you're like
Wow.
a
Really?
subway car, like going down a track, and then you like jump and do like tricks and stuff. Like I don't know, it looked ridiculous and over the top, and something that I'm definitely down for. And then Ghost Runners developers also revealed Valor Mortis,
Hmm.
um, which looks interesting. We'll see. I mean, that felt very much like a tone trailer. So we'll see how the game actually plays. But from a tone perspective, I think it's a really unique setting that they're going for, which I appreciate. We'll see how it plays out, and whether it's something that we um, enjoy or not. But I think at least it has me more interested than I was previously. I was very briefly interested in Project Spectrum until I realized it was from Team Jade, who are the people who make Delta Force that we talked about.
Oh no, is it?
Yeah, so I was like, "Oh, shoot, maybe I'm not interested." Um, but yeah, so overall, like, a lot of things that looked kind of interesting. My big observations, though, is I can't decide if this is just the games that Keeley likes or these are just the games that people are making because they're the
Yeah,
games that they can get funding for. But man, where everything is dark and things are getting stabbed with swords. Like
yeah,
everything, it feels like. And that's obviously hyperbole, but that's why like the Outer Worlds 2 trailer was like such a breath of fresh air because it was like, yes, it was people shooting things, but it was like bright and funny and like
yeah,
all of those things. Like there's just so little of that these days. It seems like everything is just so serious and dark and Stabby McStabberson with stabby swords McStabbersons and just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just was like, goodness gracious, can we have like a different type of game at some point? Like, yeah, yeah. I also felt like there was 1,000 tank games. There was two, but it felt
there's
like a
two.
thousand.
Yeah, but there was two, but they were both World of Tanks.
I know they were
Just one
both World of
is called
Tanks.
World of Tanks Heat.
Yeah. But yeah, just a lot of really dark, self-serious stuff. So the things that stuck out to me were the things that were not that, um, for the most part. So yeah. Josh, how does this have you feeling, as we talk about E3 has gone away.
Hmm.
We had the summer of games. We had Gamescom. Tokyo Game Show is around the corner here in September. Did you hear the latest rumor about that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So with Xbox being there with one of their
It'll be nice.
franchises that people like, yeah. But are do we? How do we feel about like the marketing of games these days? Enough? Too much? Better ways to do it? Worse ways to do it? Because I'll be honest, like I don't mind talking about these press conferences after the fact,
Yeah.
but and maybe I'm just getting old and old man yelling at clouds. I am really enjoying watching these less and less and less.
Oh, I'm not there with you yet, but I understand that. I understand that thought. I'm the type of person who loves a mystery box, right?
Hmm.
And I always get that like dopamine high from that. It could be anything. That's how I get sucked into things. I have such like an addictive personality.
Sure.
I could watch two guys on the internet open mystery boxes for IP I never even heard of and still
Yeah.
find it interesting.
Yeah. Sure.
So for shows like this,
Hmm.
where I see some gameplay for Zero Parades, which is a game I know is being made, and
Hmm.
there's not much to show, but it still gets me like excited to see it. Um, so on from that level, I still enjoy these shows, and I kind of always will.
Hmm.
Um, but like to your point, and like something that um we talked about maybe during the Xbox thing, but there's still so much pressure for companies to do this kind of thing
Yeah.
multiple times a year that we start getting like these swings and misses, these delayed games, these canceled games, these closed studios, like things that maybe someone might have not released a trailer for if they weren't pressured to show something somewhere.
Hmm.
So I do think that too many of these creates that, and I don't know. I don't think that studio. That's probably not a great. That's a generalization. That's probably wrong. I don't know the differences between what is considered a delay and letdown to us for a game that gets pushed back a year and how that correlates financially for Microsoft or Sony. Where
Right.
is it worth it for them to get the hype out and then have to delay the game,
Hmm.
or does it make more sense for them to sit on it? Because I'm not really sure if the consumer likes to complain, but is the
Yeah.
consumer still buying the game is the bigger question. And then if that's the case, yeah, stop putting out your trailers early so I don't have to hear complaining for 2 years. Because I hate that more than a game delay.
Yeah.
Is the people's complaints, constant complaints, silly complaints.
Yeah.
So that part, I would say I don't love. Um, that gets birthed out of all these shows.
Yeah. I always I can't always decide what like how it's decided like what we see and what we don't see, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um because I think of like I feel like we've seen so much of Animusha, right? Like
yeah,
I feel like Animusha's been at so much stuff over the last like year. Or I guess since it was announced in at the Game Awards. Like I feel like it's
yeah,
been in so many showcasey type things.
yeah.
I feel like Silent Hill F has been in like so many things. I was actually shocked, maybe in a good way, that Borderlands 4 was not in this.
No,
I
thank
was like,
God.
for sure they're
Yeah,
gonna have
thank God.
Borderlands 4, right? But they didn't. So that was actually kind of surprising to me. But that's kind of where I always kind of wonder about some games. It seems like we see so much stuff about, in other games it's just yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But and also, when I man, where's Ubisoft, dude?
They're having a rough year too, I think.
Because like I thought at least we'd see something from them,
Yeah.
right? They have European studios. Like I thought that we'd see something from them, even just like an update on an expansion for like Star
For
Wars
Honor.
Outlaws or something, or
Yeah.
anything like a new season for you know the Division 2 or something, right? Like
Yeah.
some sort of something, and just nothing. Chronos the New Dawn. I feel like we've seen that game
Chronos.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Outer Worlds 2, honestly, I feel like we've seen so much because they had like their IGN first stuff and then the huge thing at X. I mean,
Yeah.
some of these games we've seen so much stuff of. Um, and others, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I should say, uh, Call of the Lambs,
Oh yeah.
Woolhaven DLC also
Yeah.
looks pretty cool. So yeah, but I don't know. Like I said, I guess I don't know what I want. I think I just want these to be tighter. Um, more than anything, I think I might enjoy them more if it was like one 60-minute showcase like every 3 months or 4 months. Like I think
Yeah.
I'd be way happier. But
Yeah.
yeah. All right, Josh. Anything else about the Game Awards or Jeff Keighley that you want to talk about? Oh yes, and obviously yes, the next Black Myth game got announced,
Yeah.
but that's not really either of our cups of tea. But we'll see when that game finally comes out because Black Myth Wukong I feel like we saw for like 8 years before it finally
We
came
saw
out.
that game forever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll see. But anything else about Opening Night Live, Josh?
No, sir.
All right, sir. Well, with that, then let's move towards wrapping up the show. Obviously, we're a gaming podcast, but we want to give you one other recommendation, suggestion, or thing we're currently into that's helping us live a well rounded life. Josh, what is your recommendation this month?
My recommendation is Alien Earth on Hulu. I was excited for the show, but I was also going in with some trepidation as
Hmm.
to like we all know how these things work out
Yeah.
sometimes. And I gotta say, it's blowing me away. It's
Oh,
one
awesome.
of the best TV shows I've seen in a long time. Um, but you have to like Alien.
Mm.
That's you have to like Alien. You have to like it a little bit. Um, you gotta know that sci-fi is your cup of tea. It's a sci-fi show, but it's just like I don't. I'm worried about saying too much or the. It's so good. um, if you've seen Alien Romulus, it's more in the spirit of Alien Romulus than it is of some of the other Alien movies.
Hmm.
You know, so and it takes place in between. I forget the timeline. I think it takes place between Alien Romulus and Alien, maybe. No, that can't be it. I'm not sure. It takes place in between a couple Alien movies. What I really like about it is the acting is just fantastic. The story is very intriguing. But to maybe if people are like on the fence, um, what I will say is it deals with not just the alien creature. There are other aliens in at least the first episode, um, and uh, yeah, it's about corporations like controlling people and
Mm-hmm.
controlling the earth and how that affects people and how do you work and where do you work and all these kinds of things. But also, this horrible thing is happening or has happened, and uh, how are we going to deal with it? It's just a very interesting show. That it just feels like it was made in the 80s. Like they
Mm-hmm.
did such a great job with like the the theme and the set design and all that. It's been a very awesome experience. So
I've
yeah,
heard really good things about it. My question for you is, you said you have to be an Alien fan. Could this make you an Alien fan?
it certainly could make you an Alien fan. Yes.
Okay. Um, so just so you know, Josh, from a timeline perspective,
Yeah.
Prometheus, then Alien Covenant, then Alien Earth, then
Okay.
Alien,
Okay. Yeah. So
and then
before
Alien
Alien.
Romulus. So
Perfect. Okay.
yeah, so this is set 2 years before the original Alien movie.
Yes.
All right, Josh. Okay, so you recommend Alien Earth, which is on Hulu, which you can watch. Well, FX on Hulu, right?
FX on
Technically,
Hulu, but it's also on
Disney,
Disney Plus
whatever. Yeah,
and Max if you have the bundle.
yeah. All the bazillion ways to watch things these
Well,
days.
and Hulu's going away next year, so it'll
Yeah.
only be on Disney Plus anyways. So
Yep. All right, Josh. So my recommendation, I have two. Both, well, one new, one old. New, a show I've recommended in the past, but it's back with a new season. That is Hard Knocks is back on
oh
HBO.
yeah, yep.
HBO Max, the one to watch for HBO.
Mm.
So that is back this year. They're following the Buffalo Bills.
Boo, Bills
Um,
suck.
so here's the funny thing, right? And obviously, this is a docu show that people are putting on a face for to a degree, right?
Sure.
I
I don't know
really like.
about the Bills fans though.
Well, the Bills fans are really weird. They actually interview some of them, and some of the stuff they
I'm
say, I'm
sure
like,
they do.
wow, I don't know that you should say that on national television, or cable television. But anyway, uh, man, Josh Allen just seems like a really nice guy. Like he really does. Like I know that I'm sure people who aren't Bills fans don't like him just because he's very good, but he just seems like a really nice man. Like maybe he's not, but he seems like a very nice man. But it is interesting. Like I said, I watch more Hard Knocks than I watch NFL games in the season. Though it was week 0 for college football this weekend, so that was amazing. So yeah, that number one is Hard Knocks. Number two, I've been continuing my quest through all these
Oh,
comedies that I
yeah.
sitcoms that I never watched, and I have started a new one that it's been recommended to me many times. I just didn't think I would like it. I watched the first 4 or 5 episodes. I didn't love it, but I stuck with it, and then there was an episode where everything clicked for me, and that is New Girl on Peacock.
Hey, I'm currently rewatching that right now.
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna like this show. I am really, really enjoying it. It is surprisingly endearing. I really thought that the quirkiness of it was going to be offsetting,
Yeah.
and it does take, like I said, about 4 or 5 episodes to really kind of like start to jive with it. But I really appreciate it now. So if you've never watched it so far, like I said, I'm only in season 2, so I'm not super far. But I'm really enjoying New Girl. I'm surprised that I'm enjoying it. I did not think I was going to like this show.
Nice.
But hey, if you are also wanting to, go back through some sitcoms that you've never seen, I would recommend New Girl. It is pretty great.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
So,
Did you get how far in are you?
like halfway through season 2.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm not gonna spoil it for you,
Hmm.
but it has one of the funniest scenes. I think maybe it's just the mindset I was in, but there's like one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen in a television show, and it involves towels in the bathroom. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I hope you remember that I said that when you see it. Uh,
Okay.
I
Do you know what season it's in?
I you know I don't because I don't uh I could probably tell you. I don't want to, but there's a person. I don't want to tell you because there's a person in the season that if you don't know that they're a guest star in it, I don't want to ruin it for you
Oh, gotcha.
because it's a pretty maybe surprising guest star.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if it just comes up. This is fun content for podcast
I know,
listeners.
right? It's great.
Oh, it's even called the towel episode. So I
Oh,
think
okay.
no, maybe that's not it. All right, towel. Okay, yeah. Shoot. It's why don't you just tell me what episode it is? It's just a clip. The clip doesn't have the episode or season on it.
Gotcha.
Oh shoot! It's like when I'm gonna watch it again after we start recording because
Gotcha.
it makes me laugh so much. Episode 11. It doesn't even say what season was it. Season 1? Maybe it's season 1, episode 11.
Episode 11.
The episode's called "The Damn Towel."
So season 1, episode 11 is Jess and Julia, where Jess. That's the one where Jess gets a parking ticket and she tries to use Julia the lawyer to like get out of it.
Yeah.
So that I do not believe is it.
Oh boy. Okay.
This is the best podcast we've ever done right now.
People probably already know the answer that are listening. All right. I don't know what season, but it's called the episode's called "The Damn Towel."
Okay. Well,
And,
good to know. The Damn Towel. Noted. Yeah, I just watched the last episode I watched was the episode where you meet Nick's father.
Oh yeah.
And he buys a horse.
He buys a horse.
Yep. All right. So with that, then, Josh, what do you say we wrap this show up?
Sure. I'm sure people are dying for it. They were probably already turned it off. Thanks for joining us, everyone. In addition to finding us on Instagram at Board with VG, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Board with VG. So feel free to give us a 5-star rating over there. Also, if you want to communicate in the more long form or you're just not feeling social media, please feel free to email us at boardwithvg@gmail.com. We don't tag our stuff with #boardwithvg because we don't post. And I said last time we recorded that I was going to do it that day and I didn't post anything. So I'm not going to make that promise again, but there's a good chance I'll post something today. But whatever podcast service you're listening to us on, we do encourage you to give us a stellar rating. That is, whether you're downloading us from the Dice Tower Network feed or our very own standalone Board with Video Games feed. You can find me on all the things at Why So Serious. That's SIRRIUS. I also promised to share my Switch code this episode. I am also not doing that. Sorry. Kyle, where can people find you?
So you can find me in all the usual places. Instagram, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, Board Game Geek, all at Cyclocross, CYCOCROSS. As always, if you have suggestions for future topics, be sure to reach out to us on social media because we want to talk about what you want to hear about. And Josh, is it about his towel always being damp?
Kind of.
Okay. Well, I remember everyone, whether it be board games or video games, never stop gaming.